second-generation biofuels. Now, second-generation biofuels are biofuels derived from algae. Now, from my past presentation, I talked to you about biofuels derived from biomass material. But due to the fact that biomass material comes from agricultural products such as corn or starches, it will be much more easier to produce biofuel from our algae, as I'll be explaining to you in my presentation.
Did you unplug?
This is my overview, the things I will be talking to you about in my presentation. From the background, and in the background is general specific things, research design, purpose, hypothesis, materials, methods, results, my data and significance, and then finally my conclusion. Okay. This talks to you about the characteristics of biofuel processing for microalgae. Now here, conventional processing was ways to convert the variety of biomass materials into biofuels. Now, biomass materials, as I stated, comes from plants. Now, plants, as you can see in this picture, they can be broken down, and as you can see in ligocellulose, it's processed to ethanol. Now, as you can see in this picture, these are the plant cells. Now, in the plant cells, you can see there's the lignin, the hemocellulose, and then the cellulose down here. Now, these three components are the main three components used in plants to produce biofuel. Now, there are multiple processes used to create biofuel, such as pyrolysis processes, thermochemical, and fermentation. Algae processing. Now, unlike biomass processing, algae processing utilizes sunlight, also like plants, to store chemical energy into diverse ranges of molecules. Now, in those molecules are celluloses, starch, and oils, like biomass material. Now, when processed, algae produces more contents other than conventional methods use of biomass. Now, from biomass, it produces less oil than when algae is processed. Now, algae can also produce oil as like vegetable sources, agricultural sources. Now, unlike biomass, algae takes less to grow. It can take 10 days, depending on the intensity of light or nutrient inputs. Here's my background. Now, in general, protons and electrons are used or processed to create biohydrogens, and sugar and starches are used to create bioethanols, and vegetable oils are used to create biodiesels. Now, specifically, algae can be processed to produce many biofuels. Fatty oils extracted from algae can be produced to create biodiesel. Now, algae can undergo splittering reactions, means like sugar can be taken from like the oils and it can be processed to create bioethanol. Now, in the past, well, growing on arable land, such as used for like to grow trees, so we can breathe oxygen. That is used to create biomass material. Now, algae takes up less land area to create biodiesel. Now, the purpose of this whole presentation was to find out a more sufficient way of creating biofuel other than biomass that could be less devastating to our global food supply without the use of biomass. Now, my hypothesis explains, due to the fact that conventional way of creating biofuels from biomass is costly and risky to our environment, it would be the best option to make biofuel from algae. Now, the materials made from algae to make biofuel are, well, as you can see in this picture, this is a press. Now, the press is used to separate the oil from the algae. Now, land is also used as a resource to grow algae on. And due to the high intensity of sunlight, the water resources, as stated before, can determine the amount of time it takes to grow the algae. Now, as you can see in this picture, it states that solvents are used to separate the sugar from the oil. Now, I'll go through the processes. Number one, it explains to you that the initial process is used deprive the nutrients from the algae, mainly the CO2, the water, and the sunlight is used to make the algae. Now, number 2 is the extraction of the oil. Now, this press, it takes out, it takes out 75% of the oil from the algae. Now, the solvents are used to obtain the sugar from the oil. And the oil that we get from using the solvents can be used directly in biodiesel cars. Now, as you can see, algae produces more oil than the other conventional methods used to make biofuel. Now, here are the economies of biofuel. The use of fossil fuels is widely accepted as undegradable due to the fact that fossil fuels cannot be reused again and are not renewable. Now, due to the depleting resources and the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the air that regular conventional fuels produce, algae would be the best option to use due to the fact that they have a low sulfur content and produce no greenhouse gases to the environment. Now, currently, nearly all renewable energy sources target the electricity market, such as hydroelectricity, solar energy, wind energy, and geothermal energy, which is energy from the heat of the earth. Now, while these generated fuels make up 33% of the electricity market, fuels make up 67% of the global energy demand. Now, current supplies from oil crops and animal fats account for 43% of the transport fuels. Now, increasing biofuel productions on arable land can have consequences to the environment. Because it takes down trees to grow algae. Biofuel from algae is the most efficient way of fuel to use to power cars. Now, the concerns of biofuel production. Now, biofuel material oil produced crops account for 3% of agricultural products. Now, this is 12 million tons of current biofuel oil consumption. We use oil consumptions in modern day agricultural foods, such as like sardines that can be used for us to eat. Now, increased growth on arable lands can cause severe problems. In Brazil and Southeast Asia, the rainforest regions are being cut down to make use for agricultural products to be used to make biofuel. Now, algae, when produced, it takes less area, and it also produces more oil to make biofuel. So it will be more easier to use algae other than biomass material. Land use for biofuel processing instead of food production could lead to severe food shortages. Many biofuels can be produced from algae. There are more than one process to create biofuels. Some gases have to be mixed with biofuels to make them useful. Biofuels, also from algae and from agricultural products, lack sulfur, which means that they produce no greenhouse gas emissions to the environment. Now, producing biofuel from algae can save us from global food prices. Algae can be produced naturally or chemically. In conclusion, algae is the best fuel source in order to create biofuel. This is because algae produces more oil than the conventional way of biomass. Thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. What kind of algae is it we're specifically talking about, and where would it be grown/harvested?
Basically, algae can be obtained from ponds that grow on the side of ponds or inside of ponds, or basically from oceans underground. It can be processed through the press to make oil.
So how would one harvest this? Would it be on the ocean, collecting ocean algae? Like, in terms of gaining enough raw material to produce oil to provide what the world's needs, which you said it was the most reasonable and most economic and most efficient way to do. how would you get that quantity of algae to process?
Basically, we can get it from the ocean, as I stated before, or we can grow green algae.
Do the positive things about biofood production outweigh the concerns about it?
Yes. Basically, because there aren't really any negative things about biofoods. The fact that they really take up all of a percentage of our agricultural supply. So, like more use of that can lead to global crisis.
Like, once you harvest all the algae and use it, does it grow back quickly?
Right?
Like, once you after you harvest all the algae, like to use the biofuel, does it grow back quickly?
It depends on what you use to make that. Like, you can use sunlight or more nutrients to make the growth process faster. Tyler.
Did you explain that they found that algae can be used for biofuel? Most of the consideration the animals that use algae for food and plant resources?
No, that wasn't covered in my journal. Andrew.
Does the biofuel need to be mixed with regular gasoline for it to be used in cars?
As seen in the way algae is used, like from the press, it can be used directly into the diesel cars. But some biofuels do have to be mixed, like E10, like 10% ethanol and 90% gasoline. That's used in like